You're watching one of our favourite Gardening Australia episodes from the shed. For more full episodes, check out ABC iView. We're all nurtured by Mother Nature's cycles and seasons. Every creature and plant is part of her amazing interconnected garden. But we have to look after Mother Nature so she can look after us. The water, the soil, the air, and all the life within it. Our incredible continent has a breathtaking scope of geographical variety and biodiversity. Indigenous Australians were the harmonious custodians of this land for tens of thousands of years. But now it's up to all of us. Australian gardens grow in every climate and on every scale, and they're all important. They're sanctuaries that provide sustenance, beauty, and tranquility. Gardens harmonise and heal us. They build connections and communities. In gardens, it's not only plants that grow, people do too.
Those ones. See that one was sitting on the ground?
Well, that's the big gardening story, but what about mine? It was my grandfather's garden that started it all for me as a little boy. It was a crazy abundant wonderland filled with tasty produce, cheeky chooks, and endless fascination. It was a little bit like this one. So the seed was sown and I grew into a landscape architect. I was compelled to spend my life with my hands in the soil that became sacred to me. I believe that gardens should be productive, pleasurable, holistic, organic, and completely eco-efficient. I believe in gardening the soil and the soul. This is my garden, and this is my garden. The whole world is a garden, and we're on the verge of a really exciting time, and it all begins with you. This is my nature strip, my Verge, and it may not look like anything right now, but it's about to become a very special place, a nurturing ground, a launch pad, a community catalyst where I can begin to show you where our great gardening future lies and how you can be a part of it. Hi, I'm Costa. Welcome to Gardening Australia. On the show this week, I launch our vision that's going to get all of us transforming our streets into productive garden havens. And how do you grow a garden when you've got sand for soil? Jane meets a woman who, despite the odds, has a great success story to share. Finally, I'm off to meet Tino in Tassie to talk veggie choices for our grand plan. But he serves up more than just good advice. Verges, nature strips, call them what you like. They're central features of our urban street environments. Yet often, they're nothing more than a waste of valuable space and potential. But right now, across Australia, there's a growing awareness that they can be so much more. And these commonly unused and unloved spaces are starting to flourish around the nation. Throughout the year ahead, I'm going to show you how you and your neighbours can grow your own gardens and transform areas like these into bountiful oases of food and flowers. I'm going to call this gardening adventure On the Verge, and it's all going to take place on this verge next to my place. So, where do you start? It's all about spreading the word. Hello, Judy. This is my street.
Ah, hi, Costa. How are you?
I grew up here and I've lived most of my life here. It's a place that's close to my heart. Have you heard about the project up the street?
A little bit excited.
It's always been a friendly street.
Beard is getting bigger and bigger.
And these days, there's quite a mix of people living here. In particular, lots of young families with children. And they're the ones that I really want to get involved with the project.
I think in this day and age, people are losing their sense of community and are looking for ways to find it again.
I think, if the kids know that there's things to do, it'll be more of a chance for them to get out together, not just as families, but as a, street community.
What would you like to grow on the garden?
Strawberries.
Jess.
Broccoli.
Sounds good.
That's great. Fred, Deb and the kids are in. That's the first step to getting a community garden up and going. Create inspiration, get that involvement. Hello! Talk to people, tap on doors, tell them what your vision is, but better still, ask them what they want too.
I'll bring him back at sundown.
No hurry.
Another thing that I'd strongly recommend is to do a little bit of research. It'll give you a feel for what other communities are doing in your area with their verges. It's also critical to check with your local council and be sure that you follow their recommendations and their guidelines. Simple things, such as leaving space for car doors to open. Now let's have a closer look at exactly what's going on here on my verge. The first thing I do when I assess any landscape is I have a look at the permanent things that I can't change. The line of the sun, the location of the buildings. In this case, the verge faces north, which is perfect to get growing on. The next thing to consider is exactly what's on the ground. In this case, the whole area is built on a sand dune, and this is pure sand, and that is a challenge. And finally, what's the water story? When and how much rain do we receive here? And what happens to those raindrops when they land on the verge? In this case, they hit the ground and run off down the street. So taking everything into account, here's the plan I've come up with. The verge divides naturally into 4 sections. The first is the perfect area for some native plantings to provide a welcoming entrance, a bit of a screen, and a habitat for beneficial critters. The next section is sunny and sloped, making it ideal for growing herbs. The largest and flattest section will be perfect for growing heaps of veggies, as well as flowers and other useful plants. The final area will be a bit of a utility bed. I'm starting off by planting some green manure. Well, now the plans are in place, let's kick this project off with a celebration. Well, everybody, welcome to what is going to become our community garden. To launch our new garden, I couldn't think of anyone better than our senior elder of the street, Vic, who's been here for 90 years. Vic, if you could do the classic turning of the first sod. Yay! Good on you. As I mentioned earlier, one of the greatest challenges here on the verge is the sandy soil. So let's join Jane who's caught up with a gardener in the seaside suburb of Frankston, Victoria, who takes her sandy soil
Jane.
in her stride.
I'm well, thank you.
Nice to see you.
You too.
Well, you've got a very fine, nice, shady garden for me to look at.
Beautiful in the summertime.
Val, how big is this garden?
2/3 of an acre.
And it's quite close to the beach, I notice.
About 2 kilometres.
Yeah.
Bit far to walk.
So you've got really sandy soil, I
Oh
would say.
yes, under this compost
Yeah.
and mulch.
Oh.
That's what I'm growing things in.
What do you do? How do you fix it?
The mulch.
And what, do you have a mulching machine or something?
The two. An
Two.
electric one and a petrol one, yes. Yes.
And what happens with it?
They work overtime. Without the mulch, it wouldn't survive. It'd be grey sand, just
Yeah.
grey sand. It's
Yeah.
actually coloured sand now.
And how long have you been here?
Since 1954.
So it was all scrubby when you came?
Yes, it was, yes.
How old were you then?
17.
Very good. Val and her late husband Ron cleared the block by hand, by themselves.
In those days, you cleared everything, but
Yeah.
there was nothing on the block to keep. It was all very scrubby.
Yeah. Val, how would you describe your own garden?
Definitely unstructured.
Yes.
No rhyme nor reason to it. It's just plants that I like and colour and variety. Bit of feral.
A bit of feral?
Yeah, a bit of feral plants. And quite a few feral plants in the place.
But you keep
Probably
them
noxious weeds, probably.
Oh, but you keep them under control.
Oh, yeah. Well, I just grow anything and everything and shift everything around, and if it survives, it survives, but if it dies, it dies.
This is rather a large cypress you've got here.
Well,
In fact, it's gigantic.
it's a whopper, isn't it? We went to Conifer Nursery specially to buy a golden cypress that would grow 10 feet tall.
Yeah.
And we've got a green one. How tall?
About 4 times the size. Doesn't matter, you've
No.
got a surprise packet. This one I like, dogbane, or it's the old coleus. Do you like that?
It's a bit smelly.
Don't you like that smell?
Not particularly.
Dogs don't either. That's why dogs won't go near it in the
Okay.
garden because it has got that
That's
sort
why
of
I've got a dog,
acrid
is it?
smell. Yeah. And you've got lots of lavender down there.
Yeah, yeah. The bees love the lavender.
Yeah. And what about the tree marigold?
Well, it's a bit on the smelly side too. But
You say smelly, I say fragrant. Hey Val, look what you've got.
what have I got?
Sooty mould here. It's
Oh,
obviously
dear, you're getting very picky now.
sorry to be picky, but I would get some horticultural oil onto that.
Okay.
It's just because the tree's in too much shade. I think it's a little bit stressed.
It's certainly in shade.
Wow, Val, you really have to keep on top of that jolly plumbago, don't you?
It gets out of hand if I'm not careful.
It does. Are there other things in the garden that you really have to keep on top of?
The bougainvillea.
Yes.
Lots of ivy in the garden, so it gets out of, but not the small one. It's compact.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's,
good.
It's good.
Oh, no, that's good. And you've got a radical idea of that fruit tree pruning.
Oh, okay, you noticed, did you?
I did, I liked it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
why do you do it that way? Keep it so small.
Oh, well, that's the only way to pick the fruit, really. And besides, it's hard to cover trees.
With the
when
bird
on your
netting.
own, yeah, you know,
Yeah.
sort of to get the netting on and off.
Come on, we're slacking you off here. Come on, let's
Oh,
get
good.
into it and do some pruning. Val, I guess your garden takes a lot of fertiliser.
No, Jane, it doesn't take any. I don't put anything on the garden because I save my money for holidays.
Oh, do you?
Yes, I do.
Well, that's good. Well, you've certainly proved that even with sandy soil, you can have a really lovely garden.
Yeah. And it can be your gymnasium and your psychiatrist all rolled into one.
That's very true. So you'll take that out. Val's easygoing attitude is a recipe for really enjoying the garden. Take note.
50 years in the garden. How inspiring is Val? If you want to find out more about her garden, check out the Gardening Australia magazine. So, what are we going to do about the sandy soil challenge here on the Verge? My favourite technique is to unleash the chickens to clear the grass and the weeds. And that's something we're going to show you next week. But now, I've got a whole lot of kids who are fired up to get started. And we're going to use a technique known as no-dig gardening. What we do is actually build our new layers of soil above the existing ground without disturbing what's already there. Now I know I said no dig, but there is just a little bit to stop the materials from spilling off the edges. The main layering medium is lucerne or straw. Think about it as a bit like a lasagna, where you've got your pasta. Your lucerne is the middle layers, your straw is up the top, and in between, you put a variety of other materials. Spread some rock dust and dolomite before laying down newspaper and watering it in. So the first task we're going to start with is to cover this whole area with our newspaper. The next layer is green waste, such as lawn clippings, covered by brown waste, like leaves. How are you going? You enjoying this?
Yeah.
Is it fun?
Yeah.
Which we water in with a molasses mix. Leaves are out, paper's out, manure's about to get thrown around, and everyone wants a task. This is about building community. Next is the first layer of lucerne. Do you see yourself as a gardener?
Yeah, I really like it. It's good to get out and do something for especially the street that you can eat later and enjoy.
Now it's time for our first layer of manure. So spread it, give it a bit of a shake. Oh, that's it, that's a good technique. Which is watered in with the same molasses mix. From then on, you can add additional layers of lucerne and manures, cow or chicken, up to 3 or 4 times. This will spread a lot easier than the lucerne. Finally, top with a layer of straw, then a layer of compost, and finish with a final layer of straw. Yeah, see it comes off like a biscuit, look at that. And water it in. Head to the Gardening Australia website to get my full no-dig recipe. Well, that's it for our no-dig garden construction. We've got 12 layers of lasagna goodness here, including 2 lucerne layers, 3 manure layers, and 2 straw layers. Our lasagna is in and it's cooking. That's my cue to ask Tino what he thinks we should plant. Now, I've met Tino a couple of times, but this is my first chance to see him doing his thing in the patch. And what a day it is here in the gardens. Just perfect. I've always wondered what the patch was like for real, and this is my first official visit. I know Tino's down here. Oi, there. Here's the man.
G'day, mate. How you doing?
Hello. How you doing?
All's well.
Good to see you.
Welcome to the patch.
This is my first official visit to the place.
What do you think?
Mate, it's big.
Yeah.
It's quite big. I mean, you only see bits and pieces of it, of where you're working.
Definitely. So you never sort of see it as a full thing. So look, let me take you through it. I suppose.
Official tour.
Well, we got our typical 6-bed rotation here.
Yep.
This is a bean bed. We've had quite a good crop out of here, but it's just finishing off now. It's been quite a late season this year and quite a hard one. We've had a lot of hot wind.
Really?
But you know, our leafies, got a few good radishes there.
Yeah, I can see the radishes down there. They're bulging up.
Quite a tasty sort of little radish, that one. And our green manure crop.
I love green manures. Why have you got it in here?
Well, this was a heavy crop in here of potatoes, so just trying to revitalise that soil quite a bit, and which will probably be our brassicas very soon, so we'll be sticking those in. And our corn, as I said, late, but
Nice, healthy.
Yeah, they're good.
Looks really healthy.
Coming along all right. So
there's even a little ladybug there.
Yeah, they're beautiful. Friends in the garden.
She's happy. Now, one of the reasons why I came down here was to get some ideas on what to plant veggie-wise on the Verge.
At the moment, for a quick return with kids, look, radish can always be a good one. Germinates in 3 days, but also peas. And peas should be fine to be starting to put them in, some snow peas. And look, kids love that. I know, straight off the bush.
At the school and the schools that I go around, you get snow peas and you can hear kids cracking them. Tino's promised me a gift to take back to the Verge.
There we are. a pink eye.
So this is where you wrapped up my present.
Yeah, this is all pre-grabbed. Now, these are a Tassie spud, so I don't know how they're going to go in New South Wales, but if you've got some different microclimates, you can test them out. They like the sandier soil.
Oh, here's one. Oh, look at this one.
It's like treasure hunting, eh? Yeah. It's a bit of a
huge.
monster.
The kids on the Verge are going to love the spuds, and I'm already thinking about planting out a specific Verge for potatoes.
Yeah, well, look, these are a very early variety of the pink eye. Great nutty flavour, so they should really like it.
Now, what do you do with all the produce? I mean, we've got beans here, there's tomatoes, there's everything going on. What do you do with it all?
Well, did I ever tell you that my mum is a great cook? So how about we harvest some, and then we'll take it to her. Oh, good.
An Italian feast. I'm ready, mate. There's nothing better than picking what you've grown. To me, harvesting's a celebration.
Oh, that's explosive, Tino.
Well, now we've just got to get these flowers off these giant pumpkins. We're going to go for these younger flowers, just like this one here. Nice and tender. They'll cook up well.
So what are we going to do with them?
Well, we're going to mix them with some fettuccine. They should make a nice little sauce.
Now I'm getting hungry. Now, what else should I be planting up in Sydney at this time of the year?
Well, in Sydney at this time of the year, you can go for a lot of your allium crops, your garlic, your onion, your lettuce and your basil.
And down here in the south?
Well, down here in the south, it's a great time to get your brassica tribe in, things like your broccoli, your cauliflowers, but also your broad beans.
And what about up in the tropics in the north?
Well, up in the tropics, we'll be ripping our tomatoes, corn and eggplant out as they're planting theirs. But as far as the rest of the country goes, people can go onto our Vegie guide on the website and find out.
That's a great tip. Hit the website. Is that enough?
Yeah, let's get this stuff in the car and we'll go out to Mum and Dad's.
Now that's the real reason I came to Tassie, a home-cooked Italian feast.
My grandfather had an allotment in southeast London, and he used to use that allotment to grow vegetables. So I used to go up there with him. That was a very fond memory.
My earliest memory probably is watering my mother's garden. That was my job. I had to water my mother's beautiful garden. She had a lovely garden in Collaroy in Sydney.
I think my earliest memory is when my grandfather was teaching me how to plant potatoes. And I was only little.
My mother doing the gardening and trimming the edges with a pair of plastic-handled scissors, trimming the edges of the driveway.
Rubbing around at my grandparents, cutting things up, trying to make perfume with rose petals and things, which actually just used to go brown and smell disgusting, but just rubbing around in the garden.
Poppy used to grow carrots, and I used to like to sort of pick out the small little fresh carrots that just come along. They're fantastic.
So where exactly are we heading, Tino?
Well, we're heading out to Brighton, out to my parents' place. It's about 20 minutes north of Hobart, and it's just up the Derwent.
Brighton everywhere.
Yeah, there's one in every city.
And what's the landscape like out there?
Well, the property itself is very dry. It's very rocky. It actually reminds me a lot of what I saw in southern Italy and in Greece, so you might feel right at home.
Didn't have to go to that much trouble.
Oh, we do what we can. Here we are. Let's go say good day.
I'll grab the box.
Ciao, Mum, Dad. Very well, yourself?
Yes, good, thanks.
Hey.
How are
Dad. I've got someone to introduce you
Hi,
to.
Pat.
Hi, Costa.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Nice to be here.
Hello,
Roberto, come
Nice to meet you.
Great to be here. Look at this.
Oh,
Some nice fresh produce from the patch.
Beautiful.
Okay, well, come
we
on
can
in
cook
and we
them.
can cook it.
Oh, now we're talking.
Come in.
We're talking. Ah, this place is great. And
Welcome to Brighton.
Roberto, look at these. Are these yours?
Figs, yes, and they're beautiful.
Fresh figs, just like my grandmother used to grow.
Yes, yep.
They look great. And what about here on the spinning wheel of produce?
Well,
what do we got?
We've got green gages off the tree this morning.
And some of pears, was it nashi pears?
Oh, nashi
Yes.
pears. Now, no Italian house is complete without aromas. I'm getting called. There's peppers here.
Yes.
Char grilled peppers. Oh, that
Ready
smells good.
to be eaten.
Something else is calling. Oh, what's going on in here? We're just browning some onions with garlic.
Yes, that's for the pumpkin flowers. Pasta with pumpkin flowers.
Wow, and what's going on in here?
Fagioli.
Fagioli. Yum. And
Involtini.
involtini. I love involtini. Roll them up.
Roll up the wraps. Okay, chop and tail and then cut them into chunks.
Chunks.
Just chunks.
Okay.
How hungry are you, boys?
I'm starving. Here's the beans, Pat.
Oh, fantastic. In my garden.
Am I cutting all right?
Just the way we do.
I'm an Italian. There's a bit of Italian in here. Not much, but enough.
There we go, Costa. Your pumpkin flowers. Enjoy.
Look at them. Tucked away inside the pasta. I need a photo.
Take a photo.
Look at their transformation. Yum. Pat, did you make the bread too?
I did. I make all our own bread.
The olives?
Olives from here, from Brighton.
Tino?
Talk about no food miles. I have nothing to say. I'm too busy.
Costa, welcome to Tasmania, to Brighton, to our family. Cheers. Salute.
Salute.
Pat, Roberto, Tino, thanks for making me feel like part of the family today. And thank you for making me welcome in the GA family. That's it for this week. I can't wait for next week's show. On next week's show, On the Verge springs into life. The neighbours and I get into some planting. Sophie meets a teenage gardening sensation, and Colin explores a garden that's been created to nurture kids. We'll see you then. Salute! Yamas! That's it.
Hi, it's Tino Carnivale here. If you want to see this episode again, you can easily download it from our website at abc.net.au/gardening.